remember at one of the Bible studies crying because they said the devil is omnipresent. The devil's not always with you. But I always felt the devil was right next to me, and I was so bad, and the devil was controlling everything because I was just messed up.
Hi, I'm Caroline Howard, a biblical counselor and certified life breakthrough coach.
And I'm Chris Oneth, marriage and family therapist and executive director of Downey Park Counseling Associates.
Welcome to Our Next Question, where we attempt to answer the questions of life through conversations in psychology and Christianity.
Remember, this is a place of discovery and definitely not the final answer. Welcome to another episode of Our Next Question.
It's July. Woo-hoo.
It sure is. Believe it or not,
hot.
on the temperature thing on the Apple, I looked it up this morning. Apparently, I didn't realize there's a big controversy with it.
Oh,
yep.
It shows that on it got to normal. This morning, it showed next Saturday or Sunday at 122 degrees.
Yep.
So Saturday was 120.
Oh.
And by the end of the day, it had gone down to like 112.
Thank goodness.
And then, this morning it said Sunday was like
122.
That's welcome to hell.
Something's
people.
wrong with Apple.
Well, it went, and then the little bar that it has for the coloration went to like black.
It's gone beyond the
It's
end
like-
of the spectrum.
There's yellow, red.
There's no hope.
Yellow, orange, red, and then
Black.
at the 122 mark, apparently. And listen, I've been to Baker, California. Hello. Where they have the massive thermometer, which is supposed to be one of the hottest because it's in the Mojave Desert.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. Oh my gosh,
disgusting.
there's someone sitting right there.
There it is. You. It's Erika.
Who is that?
It's Erika.
Erika. Okay, we have a guest.
Erika Aguilera.
Yeah.
We are in our summer series. What's your story?
What's your story? That's where we're at.
And
It's hot in
so
here. It's feeling like summer in here.
It's not
It's
that
not
bad.
120 degrees.
It's not.
though.
It's
not.
not that bad yet.
Maybe I'm having a hot flash. I don't know.
So this office is it's a great office. It's an old house. It's very charming, but it's single pane windows.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
the insulation is horrible. And so it gets very hot in this room, and it gets very hot in my office. And as a sacrificial,
Lamb. The
boss, I guess. That sounds weird. I'm a boss. I got an AC unit for my clinicians in this room.
Well, that was
and
nice.
so primarily because you can open a window here and put the exhaust thing on. In my office, there is no window to open. So that's also why we don't have an AC in there.
That
An
doesn't-
extra AC.
That's not going to invite people to schedule appointments with you throughout the summer.
I know. They're going to be like, there's Sherlock is sweltering.
We have a kiddie pool out back though. So
That-
we do water therapy.
Boy, howdy. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we're going to run through the mist and then you come back in. In the afternoons, it gets pretty intense. And so,
I
especially in
bet.
the valley, and I imagine next week when it's going to hit
It's going to not be
1,000
122. No, Saturday it does say 112. But
But that's
also,
after a week, all week of consecutive 100+ days.
oh gosh, yeah.
And so
it's easy 100 over
it's
over
not
100.
fun.
It's not.
So when
And-
we wake up tomorrow, next Monday will be 124, I'm sure. When it pops.
Yes,
It's like
totally.
150. They're like,
Yeah,
get out.
they're just doing
And
it.
normally we honestly in the valley don't experience this until like August.
I know. And this
And so
is
it's
our
kind of a ripoff. I don't know what's going
fourth
on.
round of a big heat wave
Yeah.
already.
Oh, it's pummeling.
And
It's
it's
punching
just July.
the side of our collective head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no bueno.
I'm going to try not to complain. Try the keyword there.
There you go. There you go.
No
Okay.
effort.
Well, so our story is that we're sweltering in the heat. And
Yes.
and so
And
we
that's
have
the end of the podcast.
Thank you for
The
coming.
end.
Thank you.
so we have our very special guest, Erika Aguilera.
Aguilera. Erika. Yes.
Okay.
So if you, I don't want to do this to you, but I'm going to have to just for
Yeah.
our people listening. That last name might sound familiar.
I'm Victor's wife.
She does not sing.
I don't sing, play piano. I don't do anything talented. in
Nice.
the
So you're
music
not
industry.
competing with each other about
No.
who's the most
He
musical.
gets all the glory for that part.
Okay.
You get the glory. For
Yeah,
Wait,
well,
wait,
he's a
wait,
worship
wait.
leader, so God should get all the glory in that, But,
Oh, that's right. Yes.
that's like the thing about the job.
Jesus. Erika, what do you do?
I'm a teacher.
Okay.
I teach little second graders.
Oh my gosh, that's when they still
And
love you.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
great. And I've taught for Oh my gosh, since I was 21, 22.
Wow.
So I'm on year 7,
Whoa.
8.
You old.
Wow. Now you just aged yourself.
I know. Add 7 to 20.
So when you're not teaching, what do you do?
Nothing. No.
It's specially designed.
Right now I started a new hobby. I'm working out.
Oh.
That's
that's a hobby.
disgusting. It's a hobby for now.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a hobby.
I thought you were supposed to enjoy hobbies.
No. No, and I'm a foodie.
Oh, foodie. Yes.
So I
That.
love a good restaurant.
Oh, how about a good taco truck?
Love a good taco truck.
So I go to David's Tacos.
Delicious.
Shout out to David Tacos. I get the tacos Chicano. Holy cow, with the I think it's Chipotle. I don't know what it is, but
It's
whatever crack
delicious.
they are putting on there,
Crack is
it's
Divine.
working.
Lamo is like our
Oh.
regular brunch spot.
Walking
Lamo
distance
is
from
good.
this
I know,
office.
and it's beautiful.
Yes.
You have to go.
Nice.
every single
Awesome.
day.
Well, now we're all hungry.
I know.
Well, okay. So you've got some activity. You got any stuff there. Any kids?
No kids.
Okay.
Oh, my life's great. No. No.
You have
yeah.
a 4-legged?
I have 2 fur babies. They're
Oh,
my
boy.
baby. Yeah, I have Scout. We got him last year. And then we have Teddy, which I got Teddy.
What
It
are
was-
What are these?
Teddy is a mutt we found.
Oh, it's a
in
dog.
He's a dog.
There are 2 dogs?
2 dogs.
Okay.
One is a mutt they just found, and
Nice.
we love him forever. And he's
They can be the best dogs. They really
he's
can.
the best.
Hardy.
He has a lot of issues. I
Oh.
mean, he's just a little
I can
anxious.
relate.
Like he was
You
supposed to
set
take
fire to
away my
things? What is he-
anxiety.
What's that? I'm saying?
He was supposed to take away my anxiety,
Oh,
but
gosh,
he
no.
also has anxiety.
More
So
work.
now y'all
Yes.
just feed off of
We
each
just
other.
feed off of each other.
I love that.
And then there's Scout, and Scout I didn't really want, but Victor wanted another
Hurtful.
dog. I know, but and then he's like my best friend.
Oh.
Okay, so now you want him.
I
What
love
type of dog
him.
is Scout?
Scout is a Cavalier Poodle mix because Victor says Cavaliers are ugly.
Cavalier.
They're like the Lady and the Tramp dog.
So
with
you
the
went.
long
So you
ears.
had to get
Cavalier.
a mix.
A
Like
mix
you wanted a
'cause
calf.
he was like a Cavapoo is cuter.
Cavaliers were against the Roundheads
Cavapoo.
during the Glorious Revolution in 1689 in England.
Yeah,
No?
they're an England
Oh.
dog. Yeah,
Okay.
they're around there.
But you'd rather say I have a Cavapoo than a.
He just, I don't know. It's his choice. We got it.
We
he's
still love
cute.
you, Victor.
We love him.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2 fur babies.
Nice.
And that's it. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Super fun.
Erica,
Yes.
tell us your story.
That's
wow.
not how you say it. It's a
So-
question.
Oh, sorry.
Erica,
What's your story?
what's your story?
I love at the same time different
Yeah.
tones. My story. Victor told me that you wanted me on the podcast, and so he was like, "They want to hear your crazy story," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, it's crazy, I guess."
Like you had to name
me,
drop him to
That
get
is
on?
not
me.
how we were saying. That's not
I
how
know,
I
but
was.
Victor was
referring.
translating
Okay.
through Caroline.
I did not
Okay.
say I wanted your
You're like,
crazy
she's
story.
nuts. No. So my story is, I was born April 25th, 1995. Save it in your calendars.
Holy cow.
Same birthday as my son.
Yes,
You guys
same
are
twin
hey.
birthdays.
Yeah, you guys are birthday buddies.
I texted him on my birthday. Happy birthday,
I love
birthday
it.
twin.
I love it.
Okay.
So, my parents were not married when they conceived me into this world, and so my mom
Okay.
felt the pressure
Okay.
to get married at the time because she just didn't want to repeat of her behavior. I have another half brother, and she was just like, I want to stay with this man.
Okay.
But my dad had a lot of issues, so he was struggling with alcohol that my mom knew at the time. And so when I was coming into this world, he was struggling with suicidal ideation,
Okay.
all of that.
Wow.
And so that lasted until like maybe 97. So my sister, he went back into a behavioral therapy because he tried to attempt again at that
Okay.
point. And then around 99, my parents got plugged into church.
Okay.
And from my mom says from 99 to like the mid 2000s, our life was great. And I just never had like a really good connection with my dad, even
Okay.
during that time. But life was normal for the most part. And
So it was you
and my sister
and a sister.
and I had a half brother, and my half brother's 10 years older than me. So he
Okay.
was kind of,
It's quite a spread.
yeah, in and out of the picture,
Okay.
not because he was just older than us. So he was
Yeah.
going to his football games and everything else. And so it was just a whole different like dynamic.
Yeah.
So it was mostly me and my sister. And so when I want to say like 2005, 2006, my parents opened a business, and my mom was not for it, and my dad was into it, and he was a mechanic. And during that time, now it's 2008, everything crashes.
Oh no.
And life is not good. And so my dad starts working on boats, and he has a lot of back pain because he was a mechanic, and he would just lift like everything out of the car. Yeah.
Okay.
So he was lifting and all that stuff.
Okay.
And he heard someone say, "Did you know like meth would be a really good
Meth?
Meth is a really
I wanted
good
to make
pain
sure
reliever."
I heard that right.
I know. And so he started.
Wait, meth was a
meth.
well, like an energy
No, to
booster
help
or
with pain.
a pain
Reliever.
suppressor. I see. You couldn't graduate from like Tylenol.
No, we didn't do that because that didn't make any logical sense.
Oh no, absolutely. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and my mom was really open with us because her parents weren't open with her.
I see.
And so she just told us everything.
Wow.
And so we were well aware that he had an issue with drugs. And so it started with like Oxycontin.
Okay, so
and
you're
meth.
12.
No, I'm like maybe
but
10.
10. Okay.
10 at this point.
Yeah.
And
It's a lot for a kid.
He gets a back surgery. It's supposed to fix all the problems. And it didn't fix any of the problems. It just got worse. So I want to say every 2 years, my dad struggled with meth, Oxycontin, his drug of choice.
Okay.
And every 2 years, my parents would attempt getting divorced.
Wow.
And my dad really used the Bible to manipulate.
Wow.
In a horrible sense of like, you're going to go to hell. These kids aren't going to do well. And
if she divorces, I imagine. Okay, got it.
It was just not good at all.
Yeah.
So every 2 years until I was 18, there was a drug issue. And then my parents, they're going to about to get divorced. And me and my sister, it was when we turned 18. I'll flash forward because there was a lot between then and there. Around 18, my mom took me to my boyfriend's house, which was Victor at the time. And she told us, we're not going to get divorced. And I was so livid. And I never really got angry because I really grew up in a church that was like, anger is sinful. So when I felt anger, I just suppressed it. I was like, no, I can't be angry. So all I said was, it's going to take something really bad to happen for them to get divorced. Flash forward to the next day, my dad tries to kill my mom.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I'm
Gosh.
18. I'm turning 18. And my sister's 15, 16. And we don't really tell anybody this because we're like so embarrassed. And part of us is like, I don't want to be taken away from my parents. This is crazy.
Wow. Okay.
And so he drives her around town and he comes back to our house. He pushes her out of the car.
Oh, wow.
And then he kept driving. And that was pretty much the last time I saw my dad.
Oh, wow.
In person. And so my mom got a restraining order. We lived with my grandparents for 10 days until we can go back to our home. And we just lived until, I knew my dad was still struggling with alcohol, any drug addiction at that time.
Right.
And during that time, I became an anxious mess.
Okay.
Yeah.
I graduated high school, and at my graduation party, a family member said, it only gets worse from here.
Oh.
Wow. Thank you.
And
Wow.
those words stuck with me. Like,
wow.
So like I was listening to the podcast today and I was like, what was something, and there was those words, it's gonna get worse from here. And I remember sitting and I'm like,
do you know what they meant by that? I mean,
like high school's easy. Now you have to make all these choices. But at that time I was like, how is it gonna get worse?
Sure, absolutely.
It sucks already. My dad wasn't at my graduation. Yeah. My mom and sister have a restraining order. I'm working at McDonald's at the time trying to support my mom and my sister. like we have no money, we don't have a car, I'm walking, I had to walk everywhere. Like, how is it gonna get worse?
Right.
And that's when like I had a huge panic attack.
Okay.
And I struggled with anxiety since I was 4 years old. I was kind of an anxious child.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean,
so,
the environment was unstable.
Yeah.
Like,
So
it's kind of understandable.
Yeah. So I was like, how is it going to get worse? And so from 18 on, my dad was not in the picture. But my sister was like hopeful that everything was going to be okay with him.
Okay.
And I kind of accepted that it wasn't ever going to go back to normal.
Right.
I don't even know what normal would be.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Explain that
So
one.
what is normal? Nobody knows.
Right.
And so from 18 on, I was in school. I got a full ride to Stan State. And I just like, I had a term on it. I had 4 years to get everything done for my teaching degree.
Oh, wow.
And
So
that's
Erika,
including
my
my
assumption
credential.
is that you were like a well-behaved kid.
I was a very well-behaved
model
child.
citizen.
Model child.
Okay.
If you told me, like my mom will always say, like, you know, you should discipline the child, just not like on the, like, oh, not every child needs the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, if you said I'm disappointed in you,
Oh, wow.
it was like, you just like shot
Wow.
my heart. And like,
wow.
I was like, no, I'm
Sure,
so sorry.
sure.
I disappointed you. And my sister would be like, cool. Yeah, I did. I disappointed
Mission
you.
accomplished.
Wow, that was the goal. No, and so we
Yes,
were totally
okay.
two different children.
Totally. Well, you're like that's a firstborn thing. It's
Yeah,
like
I had
taking
to be
on
perfect.
responsibility and yeah.
Yeah, and so I was a model student.
Parentified,
Yeah.
we call that.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that till actually like recently that I
Okay.
kind of took up that role. So 18 till 23, 22, I was getting all my schools done. I was still struggling with anxiety. I started going to therapy. My mom remarried at this time, and I felt like I was her husband
Oh.
this whole entire time.
Ah.
So when she remarried, I was like, oh, I'm my mom's husband.
Aha.
And that's not healthy.
So in what ways how would you further describe?
It would like sit down, talk about finances like a husband and wife do. We would plan like, okay, we're cleaning the house on this day. Let's do this together.
Okay.
We were each other's emotional support in
Wow.
every way. And so when she got remarried, I was pissed. And I love the man.
Yeah.
He's a great stepfather. He's a great like parental figure in my life now. But I was like, get out of my house. Because I was like, how dare you just
It's like
come
disrupts
in?
the system.
Yeah, we had a great system. And it probably wasn't. I mean, because I was a teen.
Sure.
Yeah.
So they were like, no, this is not good. But I started going to therapy for anxiety. And then I was like, hey, can we just add on the fact that I feel like I'm married to my mom and I need to adjust? So I started having to break off that because me and Victor are talking about getting married. And I'm like, can't get married. I'm married to my mom. You know,
wow.
like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have to do this life with her and there's no one else. It's just me.
Wow. Yeah.
That's how
that
I
burden,
felt.
taking on that.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
And I think that was just a survival. I don't think I was like any way like, hey, you have to do this. It was like, no, I need to do this to survive.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
And I need to be part of what's happening so we don't end up where we were before.
Well, and it starts young, right?
Yeah.
And it's not conscious. It's like,
No, not at
okay,
all.
this is what is needed.
Yeah.
I need, even at like 4, 5, 6 years old, it's like, I need to behave myself.
Yeah.
Oh, mom and dad are having a rough time. I can take care of myself.
Yeah.
And so all sorts of, peripheral stuff happened because of that.
Yeah. So went through that. And then me and Victor got married after I was not married to my mom anymore.
All right. All right.
Worked through
All
that.
right.
Thanks, therapy. So we got married and our first 2 years were good. We were great, solid. I was like getting used to like, okay, I'm a wife.
Wait. How did you meet Victor? Was it
Ooh,
like
yeah, good story.
across the room, dream weaver?
Yeah. So hilarious is we met on Facebook.
Oh.
And he was like giving me a compliment. Like he was like, I just see you like pray and like worship at church. And I just think it's like really beautiful.
What a come on. No,
And I know.
Just kidding.
And I was like, oh, that's really nice. And so sweet. And he was like, I serve on the worship team. And I was like, yeah, right. Never noticed him
This
sing.
guy.
Never
wow.
noticed him play guitar at
Oh,
church.
hurtful.
I know. And so we met at 16 and we dated from 16 until we got married at 23.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we're high school sweethearts.
Wow.
Yeah. And been together ever since.
No
He's
kidding.
the greatest person.
He's pretty cool.
He's great.
Yeah.
I mean, he started when we first started dating. I did not like him, was not a fan.
Wait, explain that
wrong
one.
with you? How
Explain
could
that
you
one.
not like
he
Victor? I'm
was
just
very
joking.
serious. So like,
Okay. You brought the fun out in him.
I did. The worship culture we were involved, the church culture we were involved in was like celebrity church culture.
Oh, sure.
And
Boy, there's another podcast.
I know, that's a good one. We love, there's great books on it too. But we were part of like a celebrity church culture.
Okay,
And
okay.
so he literally took it so seriously. It was like nothing. I think it was, okay, it wasn't authentic,
Sure.
you know, because it was
When you're
so
a celebrity,
programmed.
you gotta.
Yeah, so I
Yeah, you
remember
gotta
like
perform.
bringing him a sandwich because he's like, I'm hungry. I was like, oh, I'm gonna bring him a sandwich, and he's like, this is my time. How
Wow.
dare you bring me a sandwich? This
Oh.
is my time, like literally to like shine because
Oh.
that was like.
I think
the
my
church
wife would throw a rock at my
I
head
know, and I
if
was
I said
like,
that to her.
what the heck?
Yeah.
And so during our marriage, the first 2 years was great, and then we had to really break down that church culture that
Yeah.
we were raised in.
Sure.
I struggled with anxiety off and on. And so I remember thinking like, oh, maybe I need to take medication for this. And being told if you take a medicine, like you're ingesting demons.
Oh.
And I'm like,
Wow. Oh, jeez.
and like constantly praying the anxiety away and
wow.
constantly making sure I'm good enough. And like even in, for example, premarital, because of church culture we were raised in, we were like, I was told to be a good wife, you had to have sex every single day.
Aha.
Oh, goodness.
And so in premarital, it was like, you know, you take those quizzes and they're like, Victor says sex is okay once a week. And Erika wants to have sex every single day.
Oh, wow.
And Victor was like, what? But I was told
But
that.
that's what you were told
Yeah,
you
to
had to
keep
do.
your man, you have to do this.
So it's not necessarily what you wanted. It was what you were like, this is what I have to do. And
And I didn't know because
Oh.
we were virgins until we were married. So I'm like, I don't know what's this going to be like because it was just the church culture. It was very
So that
toxic.
actually totally fits in with the dysfunction you were raised in because you're hyper aware of what your parents are doing and their moods and then adjusting your own behavior according to what you think they want and need. And that
Exactly.
can translate into what everybody else, including the church, wants and needs.
Yeah, and the church needed Victor more than they needed me.
Ah, so
And
there was
so-
no Erika.
Yeah, it was like we said earlier. Oh, Erica's wife, Victor's wife, not
Ah.
Erica's wife.
Erica's
But
okay.
Erica's wife.
Yeah,
No,
sure.
to yourself.
I know it's crazy.
That would be Victor.
But like my giving up of his time,
Wow.
like him going to practice until 2 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
waking up and being like, oh my gosh, is he alive? You know, because he's
Yeah.
out.
Oh, churches are the
practicing.
worst boundary violators ever.
And so us having this toxic church culture, and then I had like a pretty much a mental breakdown. I had a really toxic encounter with someone at my job, and she was older than me, like mom age. She could have been my mom.
Okay.
And I don't know if I viewed that as something, and it just set me off.
And this is 2 years into the marriage.
2 years into our marriage,
Okay.
and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this person's gonna hurt me at work, because I
Wow.
was always had that with my dad. My dad's gonna hurt me. My dad's gonna hurt me.
Wow.
So now
it just sent you right back.
Yeah, it sent me right back.
Holy cow.
Now that I'm going into therapy, and we really worked through all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like using a parental figure as I messed up. She's gonna hurt me now.
Oh my goodness.
And
Wow.
so I would pray. I would be like, God, I pray a student hurts me. And I'd be like, God, I pray there's a way that school shuts down and I still get paid. Like I would just pray like these random things. And I was like, nothing of this is happening. I'm praying and nothing's happening. And so then I was like, well, the only way to do this is if I hurt myself. And so everything became a threat to me. We had to take the knives out of the house because I told Victor, I was like, I don't feel safe. What if I just break and I just hurt myself? Or what if I just run away? And what if it was just what if all the time?
And here's something I want listeners to understand about this. Believe it or not, that is it's gonna might sound weird, but that is a normal response to the trauma and the pressure that built up and what you were put through. And these don't just pop into our head out of nowhere.
No,
there are patterns. There are ways that, hey, this is the way I survive. Not even conscious, right? And so it grinds on us, weighs on us. So having a breakdown is like a normal thing, especially when you've been through what you've been through.
Yeah. So I was like praying, and then I was like, Victor, my poor sweet husband is like doesn't understand. He's like, I've never been in this position. And I'm like, I don't know either. Like I'm just losing it. I'm like, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? And then COVID happened, and I was like, my prayer.
Oh God! Oh no! You're the one. You're the reason.
I had like coworkers who I'd be open with came into my classroom, and they were like, "It was you," and I was like, "I know." And so I thought that was gonna be, I would heal. I would just be okay again.
Yeah.
And I still wasn't. So I was still being told if I took medication, I was ingesting demons, that I wasn't following God's will. And so I was like, okay, I can't do that. I have to have God heal me. And so then it became this way of, why isn't God healing me? He doesn't love me. I have sinned. So then I'm like writing every bad thing I've ever done in my life. And I would pray every single night. And Victor and I think we started noticing, the church we were raised in, it's not healthy. And it took a longer time for Victor. I was on the route of, I think I'm not going to believe in God anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm done.
That happens. Sure.
Yeah. And
well, it's interesting because it's just the opposite of what the Gospels say. My yoke is easy and my burden is light.
And I felt heavy all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I was like, how is this even possible?
Yeah.
Like everyone else is getting healed. God loves those people. He doesn't love me.
Sure.
Yeah. And so I prayed. I was like, God, I really want to go to Shelter Cove. And Victor started going to Bible study, and he was like, I think you should come too. And during that time, our marriage wasn't great. I mean, we loved each other. Yeah. We were, and I was like, he's going to divorce me at any second because I'm just a hot mess.
Yeah. Wow.
He can't use knives. He can't do this. He has to hide these things from me. I'm praying all these weird prayers. I have to wake him up to pray with me every single night. And it's just this, all these thoughts all the time. And it was like, I never had a break. And we went to a Bible study, and I was talking with someone, and they were like, you need to go to therapy.
So wait, this is a Bible study at Shelter Cove?
At Shelter Cove.
Boom. Okay.
And I learned a lot during that. I remember at one of the Bible studies crying because they said the devil isn't omnipresent. The devil's not always with you. But I always felt the devil was right next to me, and I was so bad, and the devil was controlling everything because I was just messed up. And I just started sobbing, and I called my sister after, and she was crying too.
Oh my gosh.
Because we felt like we messed up.
Wow.
What have we done? We have a drug addict dad who God knows where.
Yeah.
Our mom was thankfully in the picture, and we're struggling with religious trauma.
Yes. Yeah.
And somewhat, I'm like, do I believe? I don't know.
Well, fair enough. Look at the system that you came from. Is like if that's a heavy burden, and that's not a light yoke.
No, it was heavy all the time, and I was.
So I've actually heard of. I recently listened to another podcast that talked about a certain book. It was for girls, and this book mentioned Satan more times than it mentioned Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah.
So there's your focus, right?
Yeah.
And it the burden and the grind and all that stuff demonstrates that in those type of cultures.
Yeah. And I was terrified
Oh.
all the time. Growing up, I'm
Understandable,
terrified.
yeah.
And now I'm terrified of myself. And now I'm terrified of all the structure that I somewhat had in place in life.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we're going to the Bible study, and I'm still going to therapy once a week. I'm sure they would want me to go every day because they were so concerned. Still going to therapy, and I would try to use coping skills, but it just felt so heavy on top of my heaviness. And I met with someone at church, and they were like, you need to go on meds. Because if you can't use your coping skills, you need to go on meds.
Yeah.
Met with a great psychiatrist, and he was like, you have OCD.
Wow.
So my OCD is very intrusive
Okay.
thoughts. And I'm good now, but it took, I'm not even kidding, 6 months for the drugs to even touch me.
Wow.
Because I was still like fight or flight the whole time.
So OCD, it's an obsessive compulsive disorder. Those of you who are listening, it's a manifestation of anxiety. There are subsets of it, including scrupulosity, which is high religious fear that we're not saved. I've
All
got
the
to
time.
do more stuff to be in God's favor. And so very contrary to the gospel. But again, it's not just simply like, hey, believe different, especially when you're raised in a culture that benefits from religious fear. Wow.
Yeah. So had different subsets of OCD. I remember like talking to my family, and they're like, so you like some people in my family, they're like cleaning. And I'm like, I wish.
If I could pick.
I wouldn't have taken the meds if that's what it was.
And Victor always says the song from Monk. Like,
Oh, yeah.
It's a trouble out there. And he's like, I may be
Dizzle.
wrong now, but I don't think so. His Victor's like, that's your theme. Like, cause I'm like, no, I'm wrong. And then I'm like, no, I'm not. So really working on that.
Wow.
And having like a label on something that I was struggling with in my
Sure.
brain.
Puts a handle on it.
I was like, I could breathe.
Yes.
Yeah. And then talking to my mom, and she's like, I struggle like with OCD, I think.
Oh my God.
Then her reaching out, and then my sister's like, then I didn't
Boom.
feel alone.
Yeah.
Oh my
you know?
word.
And so struggling with OCD, I had a label, and I was like, I feel a lot better, but my dad is still alive and in the back corner of my brain,
Okay.
and kind of never felt safe 100%.
Okay.
After meds, maybe felt like 65 to 75% safe.
Okay.
With myself, with my husband, with my house, I started, having that. And then I have a great church culture
Right
that
on.
now that I'm healthy in, where I get to learn theology
Wow.
and ask questions instead of being like,
What? Ask questions?
yeah, when you ask questions at my last church, it was like, you're struggling.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, but I have these questions.
Yeah.
And so going into a different dynamic, get my master's degree. I'm doing great. Then I wanted to cross the stage with my master's because my high school graduation was just so traumatic to me that I was literally on therapy. We're focusing on crossing the stage.
Okay.
We're focusing on crossing the stage. I'm like, I can do this. I'm going to cross the stage with my master's. I've put in this work. I've gone to therapy. I've done meds. I've gone to Bible studies.
Yeah.
I'm doing good. I feel like I have a handle. And I volunteer at church. I do the sound and media booth. And I'm in the media booth, and our pastor, Jeremy Oldenberger, he goes, if you're not in a battle right now, you're getting prepared for one. And I remember thinking, nope. Like,
Yeah.
I've been through so much. I'm done. I'm good.
There's no more.
Right,
I'm
right.
good. I'm
Sure.
fine. Thank you, Jesus. We had our run. I'm
Right.
going to have an easy life from here on out.
Yeah.
I remember literally thinking that. And then I get a phone call. Your dad is in ICU.
Oh, wow.
He, we're not sure what happened, but he's in a coma.
Oh, wow.
Do you want to see him? And it's not looking good. And I was like, haven't heard his name for God
Wow.
knows how long. Haven't seen him in person in God knows how long. And I broke down, sobbing in Victor's office at church, just crying. We get to the hospital, and my uncles have struggles themselves. One uncle's believing that he is going to miraculously be healed. And he's part of the old church culture I was involved in.
So your uncle's believing your dad's going to be miraculously healed.
Going to wake up totally fine, not ever wanting drugs again.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Other uncle, I believe, struggles with drugs.
Okay.
So I'm on two.
Yeah.
Wow.
My sister's pregnant. We're trying to balance this. They were telling me that he was getting ready to go to rehab the next day, and just an unfortunate accident happened, and I feel guilty. I'm like, oh my gosh, he was really getting help. I can't believe this. I messed up. And a nurse talked to me, and she was like, I want you to know what happened. And because I was beating myself up, and she goes, I had a mom who struggled with drug addiction and passed away, and I want to tell you what happened.
Oh my word.
So she like pulls me in she calls me on the phone, and she hides. She said, I'm hiding in a room right now, and I'm going to tell you everything. My dad was high on meth. He had a blood alcohol level 4 times the legal limit.
Oh boy.
Wow, okay.
He had they said downers and uppers. They had both.
Right.
And he was on top of the mall structure in at the mall in Modesto. He was on top of the parking structure, was walking along, tripped, hit his head, stood up because he had so many drugs in his system.
Oh my gosh.
He had a broken back after this and walked through the mall covered in blood.
Oh my gosh.
And she goes, I want to let you know what happened. And I was like, okay, so there's no guilt. He wasn't getting ready to go to rehab.
Wow.
Because the rehab he went through was Teen Challenge, and they couldn't do the part of you need a detox. You have to detox first.
Right.
So I was like, okay, that kind of brought closure. And so we go to the hospital, and I find out all this, and he's not awake, and I just hold his hand, and it was terrifying. Looking back now, I was so scared. I remember shaking the whole time because I was still terrified.
Right.
I'm like, what if he opens his eyes? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
And I just said, Dad, I'm so sorry for being so angry with you.
Oh.
And I forgive you. And my mom went in, and she, we all kind of said our things that we needed to say. And the next day they're like, he's brain dead.
Wow.
But looking back, he looked different from that day to the next day.
Wow.
And, which I'm grateful for, because I think he was conscious of me saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I don't mourn his death the way I thought I was going to.
Right,
I mourn the apology I was supposed to get. So when you ask me why am I sad, I'm like, he never said I'm sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, like he never got to sit me down, go to breakfast and say,
wow,
I messed up and I'm sorry I chose drugs over you.
Gosh.
So that's the part I mourn now. And figuring out, now we had to figure out the whole organ donation. We donated 3 of his organs. And I remember saying to him when we took him into his honorary walk of life, I was like, you weren't a hero in this life, but I'm glad you got to do this for other people.
Wow.
And it was just a mess. I mean, it didn't feel real.
Right.
Until a year later, it felt real. I was like, in my brain, he was walking around with 3 organs missing.
Wow.
I was going to run into him.
Yeah.
And I was telling my friends that, and they're like, that can't happen. I was like, I don't know. He can.
So that's like a type of hypervigilance, like waiting. It couldn't be done.
Yeah.
I can't rest.
Yeah. And I was like, no, he's not. He's alive. I'm sure he is. I'm going to run into
Wow.
him in the grocery store.
Wow.
And he's going to miss a kidney and a liver and some lungs. And he'll be fine. He'll be alive. Because
Yeah.
I literally thought he lived through everything else.
Wow.
He had so many surgeries. He had so many of these things. He lived through everything else. And so a year went by and I was like, he's not coming back, you know? And so really having to nitpick that I'm mourning his apology every time. So there's times where I'll see something like online where it's like in the last 7 seconds of death or 7 minutes, you see like your brain plays all your fondest moments. And I just sobbed and I was like, I hope he thought of me and my sister.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
like when we were
Wow.
little or, you know, we were just playing. I just hope he was thinking of that,
Right.
you know, because I don't know what he was thinking.
Sure,
Because
sure.
we were so disconnected. And so my dad never got help. And he never went to therapy and he never, he got diagnosed with bipolar and, you know, but he was looking for a fix his whole entire life to
Yeah.
just make him normal.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I have empathy for that because I was looking for that too. What's
Isn't
going
that
to make me
something?
feel normal? Yeah.
Well, and we've talked about that in other episodes where one of the core ingredients of forgiveness is empathy, right? You being able to say, look, you know, you've done some painful things, but in a way I can relate to always trying and
Yeah.
never finding it until the surrender to Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's still like a choice.
Yeah.
I struggle with people who were like, I used to be addicted. And I'm like, like, I feel like I have my defenses up.
Sure.
Or when people who were addicts and they're like, I don't have a good relationship with your family. And after taking meds, I feel anger now, like a real anger.
Oh.
And I never felt that as maybe
Really?
I could tell you the first time I felt angry was maybe 24 years old.
Wow.
Like I felt
Yeah.
it like, oh, it's hot in my chest. What
Oh,
is this
no
feeling?
kidding. Wow.
Like I could just run and I could punch somebody. Like I never had that feeling
Wow.
of being angry. I had the feeling of being petty. I think that was the closest feeling I could have. I felt like that was more acceptable than being angry.
Sure.
And
sure.
so like there's someone who I'll encounter and he'll say like, oh, my family just doesn't love, like they don't want to spend time with me because I think he really messed up their life. And I'm like, nope, no joke. Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
suck. Boo. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. You
Right,
know,
right,
like
right.
I have to work on that. And I think part of that is because I never felt angry or I never
Yes.
felt someone was angry enough for me as a
Sure.
kid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, be angry at the person who messed your
Yeah.
life up.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah! And I just
Yeah.
never had that,
Yeah.
you
Sure.
know? And so when people are angry, I'm like, yes,
and
do it.
And the other point is like, that's the thing. Anger's not, looks at, God put into us all these emotions, right? Including anger.
Yeah.
There's demonstration of his anger in the Bible. Now,
Yeah.
we could dial that up to where it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
But feeling it and maybe even struggling with a little bit, like, oh man, it upsets me. I don't know, angry for 5 minutes instead of 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Right.
there's a place where if I see some injustice going on, if I'm not angry, there's a whole nother set of problems that's going on.
So anger's great. That's what I've learned.
There you go.
There you go.
Anger.
That's
There you
good.
go.
Love
And so
it.
when I do feel angry, now it's like we had an encounter at like a place we went to, and I was like, I feel angry.
What do I do with this?
Like I'm teaching students coping
Yeah.
skills. I'm like, I'm going to use my breathing tool, and I'm like
That's
breathing because I
so
teach my
awesome.
students that like,
That's
hey,
so
when you're
great.
upset, you need to breathe. And so Victor says, I'll do it. Like, I'll move my hands back and
There
forth
you
and
go.
breathe.
Yeah.
But
Good.
I'm now like, okay, yeah, these are coping skills that I
Yes,
can use
yeah.
now, but I didn't have the opportunity to learn them.
Yeah.
But now I get to teach other kids about how
so
to use
amazing.
these tools,
Wow.
So, I mean, my story, I feel like has a lot of things that I've helped others with,
Yeah. Right,
and
right.
so like anxiety being one of them, and like parents who are drug addicts
Right.
or anything like that. I feel like I can really connect with those people.
Wow.
And we got to raise money for after my dad passed away. We raised over $1,000 for Teen Challenge.
Wow.
Just because
Okay.
I was like, if he didn't use the right thing, I can help somebody else.
Sure.
And I'm not perfect all the time. That's why
You
I think
don't
I'm
say.
learning. And I don't have to be happy and rainbows all the time. And like everybody I'm just like the happy, like kind of person. And learning like emotions are okay. I think that's in the phase of my
absolutely.
life. You know?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Erica,
amazing.
Listening to your story, I mean, there's so many ups and downs and so many, like, I could just, I mean, I don't know. I'm just picturing you as a kid and all through these years going through like dark times and then like hoping for the best and then being hurt and disappointed again. And the story is messy, right?
Yeah.
And there ain't nothing this side of paradise that isn't messy.
Yeah.
And for us as Christians not to acknowledge what a mess life is sometimes. I mean, we acknowledge that life is awesome too and has amazing blessings, but we also have to, in the same vein, acknowledge that this does suck.
Yeah.
And I'm hurting right now, or I'm disappointed, or I'm discouraged. All that stuff is so genuine and confessional that, I mean, your story helps. I hope it helps others to hear that and go, oh my gosh, just like you realized you were not alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I don't know. You have to see who was better.
I'm like, I'm
Do we
coming
need
back.
to take a
Isn't
poll?
he has come back for like 3 episodes or 2?
Well, we're not letting him back.
Well, I think we did a
Yeah, we're not-
two
can't go through the door.
two-parter. Did we do two-parters
I
with
think
him,
he
or a
did
two-parter
two
and a one?
two-parters.
Yes,
Wow.
I know. So now it's on.
I'm gonna learn to sing.
There you go.
No, we need a different gift.
Okay, different gift. I'll figure it
There
out.
you go. There you go.
Next time it'll be coming on and how to deal with second graders. How's that?
I know.
Oh, wow.
I'm good. Victor, he's like, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Perfect.
you got it.
That's
I could do
awesome.
this all day. I could do this in my
That's awesome.
sleep.
Very cool. Well, thanks for joining us today, everybody.
Yes, thank you so much. And thanks again to Erica. And
Yes.
if you like this podcast, if you like this episode, please leave us a friendly review and share with a friend.
Yeah. Thank
That's
you.
how we get this word out.
And stay cool out there. Like literally cool. Figuratively and literally. Stay
Amen.
cool.
Both ways.
See you all next week.
Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us today as we continue our journey talking about life's many questions.
To stay connected with us, you can follow us at Downey Park Counseling on both Facebook and Instagram. You can also follow Caroline on Instagram at Relatable Caroline. And make sure you tune in next week for our next question.